my experience with fire and to share with you some encouragement that God has given me through connections I've seen with events in Scripture. So my husband John and I saw Shannon's post about the fire on Facebook, and so we drove down to the church because we didn't know what was going on, but we just wanted to be here. We got here and most of the congregation was already here. The fire had been put out, but we were all just standing around wondering kind of what to do and what had happened. And it was very chaotic and very sad, but very unifying just to be there together. And then John and I and Walker and Beza went to Walmart to buy some stuff, and we came back several hours later. And people were still here. They were still seated on the sidewalk. They'd been praying, they'd been talking. It was dark, it smelled weird, but people just stayed. And when we came back to that scene, I was really reminded of the scene in Job, where Job's friends come and they sit with him. And I wanted to read that scripture and then tell you how that has encouraged me, that connection. So that's Job 2:11 through 13. Now, if you don't know the story of Job, basically, Job's a really nice guy, godly guy, and God allows a lot of stuff to happen to him that is later revealed to just be part of God's plan. But when this stuff happens, Job's 3 friends heard of all the evil that had come upon him, and they came each from his own place. They made an appointment together to come up to show him sympathy and comfort him. And when they saw him from a distance, they did not recognize him. And they raised their voices and wept, and they tore their robes and sprinkled dust on their head towards heaven. And they sat with him on the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and no one spoke a word to him, for they saw that his suffering was very great. And that moment of coming back to the church and seeing people sitting in community, in silence, in solidarity, and this byline to the book of Job gives me 2 truths to hold on to as I try to make sense of what this fire means and why it happened. Because to me, my idea is that Living Hope should just be able to have a building where, the neighborhood kids can come after school and can be ministered to, and God has totally different plans. But the 2 truths that I think come from this are, one, that God is at work. God was at work in Job's life, even though Job couldn't see it. And God is at work here in ways that we don't understand, in ways that involve right now rebuilding and refurnishing and working together. And I think this was from one of Brad's sermons, but he talked about the time that Jesus drove the legion of demons out of a man and into a herd of pigs, and all the pigs ran over a cliff and then died. And I think this was you. You said, sometimes in our lives, we are the man who has the demons driven out of us, and sometimes we're the pig farmer who just lost all their pigs. And in both cases, God is at work, but sometimes it's harder to see and understand. But I know that God is at work here. And second, the vision of community that I saw on the sidewalk outside of Living Hope that night reminded me that God has given us an amazing community of people in this church. There are people who are willing to sacrifice and give and sit with and minister to, and that is a gift. And I am grateful for that community, and I am excited to see what God will continue to do through it as we rebuild. Thank you.